Good morning, gang. Happy Thursday morning. So, as we wake up this morning and see what some of the aftermath to Hurricane Ian is last night, we see that there's some 2 million people without power. Interesting. Okay. And I'm hoping that any of you who follow this channel or any prepper channel, hopefully you're a prepper, have some sort of backup to get yourself juiced, and certainly hope that you're in a safe place. So prayers for you, of course. But so that kind of brings up a little bit of the plans. I mean, the latest estimates right now are it's going to cost $70 billion to rebuild what was destroyed yesterday in Florida. Okay. So maybe we just don't send some money to Ukraine for a couple of days. Yeah, like that'll happen. Uh, but I want to give you this, okay? When your words come back to haunt you, and we'll get into that in a second, but I want to give you a little bit of background to this first. All right, and the beginning of the video here is going to be quite a bit of math. Don't worry, I did it all for you, so 6 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to have to get out a calculator. But I want to make a point, okay? So back on September 7th, the White House published the Solar Futures Study, which is a report that details the liberal plan of shifting U.S. energy reliance off of fossil fuels and onto solar power. Okay, we all know that this is their pipe dream. Okay, according to the study, right now, 3% of the country's electricity comes from solar panels. All right. This plan, this new Biden initiative, plans to jump us to 40% of solar energy by 2035 and 45% by 2050. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you this. In 2020, there were 140.8 million houses, okay, just homes, according to the Statista Research Department. Okay. Now, I'm not talking about apartments, I'm talking about standalone houses. This is roughly a 1.2 million house increase from 2019. So if you use that kind of increase and figure out where we are, we can estimate there's about 142 million homes in the United States, or were at the end of 2021, and will probably be at about 143 million by the end of this year. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you this as a fact. 1 gigawatt, not gigawatt, we're not going back to the future, gigawatt, okay, could theoretically power about 100,000 homes. Okay, now for reference, if you think about how much you use or your generators, there's 1 billion watts in 1 gigawatt. Just so you have an idea, your little Delta 1300, figure out how many of those you need to get to 1 billion watts. Just saying. Okay. So in doing the math on this, we need to generate 1,430 gigawatts of power to power just the homes, just the standalone houses in the United States. Not apartments, not businesses, not the Las Vegas Strip, nothing. Okay. So if the ambitious plan going to 2035 says we get to 40%, that means we need to generate 572 gigawatts by 2035. Okay. As of right now, the United States government, okay, or electric companies, or however you want to put it, has 102.9 gigawatts in total solar installed capacity, covering somewhere around 1,000 square miles, roughly the size of Rhode Island. Okay, so think about that. The entire state of Rhode Island covered in solar panels. Granted, they're all over the place. All right. The current solar capacity that we have generates enough electricity to power 18.6 million homes, which is about 13% of the nation's households. Okay, not bad. All right. But to get to 572 gigawatts, which again is the 40% that we need to increase under this plan, we'd need to increase our solar farms by 5.5 times. Now, Rhode Island's 1,034 square miles. So in order to get to 40%, we'd need to cover 5,740 square miles. That means we'd have to cover all of Connecticut as well as all of Rhode Island in solar panels. To get to 100%, we'd need to cover all of Maryland and Connecticut and Rhode Island. So if you guys live up there, just saying, where are we going to live? All right. And remember, this is just for the houses. The total electricity consumption in the United States last year was 3.9 trillion kilowatt hours. Okay. That's 3,900 gigawatt hours. So we'd need to generate 38 times more power than we currently do via solar to get to 100%. Not that anybody's saying get to 100%, but I just want to give you the idea. That means the entire state of Ohio would have to be covered in solar panels. Okay. Now remember what I said before when I did this. To power all the vehicles in the United States, we would have to cover all of Nevada and all of Utah. Okay. So we would use a lot more power in vehicles than we do in our homes. And if you think about why, okay, you go to work during the day, you shut off the lights, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're not, but our vehicles use a lot more electricity. Teslas use a lot more electricity than your house does. Okay. Combined between powering the country and powering the cars, that would mean we need to cover 235,000 square miles of U.S. territory in solar panels. I want you to watch this real quick.
It's 22 gigawatts rate over 3 days. Tell me what battery solution is going to sit there and provide that power. I mean, let's not joke around. You're multiple orders of magnitude, $100 per kilowatt hour. That's nothing. That doesn't solve the reliability problem. And remember, electricity is 25% of greenhouse gas emissions. Whenever we came up with this term clean energy, I think it screwed up people's minds because now they don't understand.
So according to Mr. Gates, electricity, how we get it currently, okay, coal, nuclear, fuel, whatever would be, okay, contributes to 25% of our greenhouse gas greenhouse gas emissions. 25%, okay? Where's the rest come from? I'll get to that. Back over to you, Bill.
A large part of the carbon we have in the atmosphere now is caused by the electricity grid, which is about 25% or so.
Exactly.
So 24%, it comes from agriculture and forestry. Why is that causing such a big increase in carbon?
Well, that category is a variety of things. When you clear land, you're taking in the carbon that's stored, say, in the trees or plants there, and you're releasing all of that, like burning the land, say, in Indonesia for palm oil plantations. Another thing is that cows and other grass-eating species have a digestion system that emits methane. And methane is a very powerful greenhouse gas. And so cows alone account for about 6% of global emissions. And so we need to change cows, just cows alone.
How are we going to do that?
Well, actually, of all the categories, the one that has gone better than I would have expected 5 years ago is this work to make what's called artificial meat. And so you have people like Impossible or Beyond Meat, both of which I invested in.
You eat it as well? Or do you like it?
Absolutely.
You do? Okay.
You can go to Burger King and buy the Impossible Burger.
All right. Is it healthier for you or just healthier for the atmosphere?
It's slightly healthier for you in terms of less cholesterol. It's, of course, dramatic reduction in methane emissions, animal cruelty, manure management, and the pressure that meat consumption puts on land.
So 24% comes from agriculture, your food, all right? So let's start with Bill's comment on releasing carbon by burning and plowing fields. Okay. Now, carbon's a basic element that is needed for life on Earth. You're a carbon life form. I hate to tell you this, okay? You are carbon, okay? It's also one of the core components of soil, all right? Think about it. When you compost to make soil for your gardens, right, you need an equal mix of both carbon and nitrogen, okay? So whether or not the carbon's released by human activity or by Mother Nature, it's still released, okay? Then Bill goes into cows, and as he put it, other grass-eating species, okay? Bill said cows release methane, which is true. By the way, so do you. Okay. And that cows account for 6% of greenhouse gas emissions. So let's see, what else do cows emit? Using that term, all right? Manure, which is highly useful in growing food because it's processed nitrogen, all right? The other half of what's needed for a growing medium. So carbon and nitrogen, huh, Bill? This is what you want to get rid of. Those are the building blocks for life. All right. So he goes into talking about fake meat. All right. The Beyond Meat, the Impossible Burger, the stuff that's made from plants and insects. Okay. Where do you think this comes from? That would be the soil, Bill. Okay. The stuff that you need carbon and nitrogen for. Just to remind you, Bill, those insects that you love so much, what do they eat? They eat plants. Guess what? That's their fuel source. They need plants. So therefore, if you get rid of carbon and nitrogen, which again would get rid of life on Earth, okay, your impossible meats wouldn't exist because there's no way to grow the plants to feed the bugs or grow the plants to make the impossible meat out of. Just in case you wanted to see how much people love your Beyond Meat program, which you invested in, take a look at this, okay? Beyond Meats is currently worth $15 a share. It was $105 a year ago today. It's an 85% loss. Remind me not to take investment advice from you again, Bill. Just saying, okay? Now, I know it seems counterintuitive that I'm a proponent of solar generators and alternative power on your homestead, yet I'm so against it on the national level. But then again, I'm a prepper, okay? Solar for a prepper, for most of us, I know there's some of you guys that are completely off-grid, okay? But solar for most of us is a backup source. Does solar have a place in society? Absolutely, no question. As a secondary source, as another source. Is it the only answer? No. Look at Germany. Germany hitched its wagon to solar power and it snowed and the solar panels were all covered with snow and there was no electricity. Again, think of what I said. Covering the entire state of Ohio. Gee, we got snow. Okay, guys, it's time to go plow the entire state. Okay, you can't plow solar panels. I hate to tell you this. They're fragile. So the only way to do it is you got to wait till it melts. It gets cold in Ohio. Snow stays on the ground for months. Just saying, okay? Now, not saying they don't put it in Oklahoma or somewhere where it doesn't snow, but, hey, maybe we could cover all of southern Florida in solar panels, right? And just hope that a hurricane never destroys them all. Just saying, okay? Think about this. Cloudy days happen, rainy days happen, things break, things wear out, batteries don't last forever. Disposal of them is a whole nother story, okay? Solar's an answer. A teeny tiny part of it. So is wind. They're all useful secondary, third, fourth, fifth sources of energy. Okay. Beginning clip, though, Bill had it right. Clean energy screwed up people's minds. Pinball out.